Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. What I'm going to be doing today is making a turkey fly down wing. So when you're out and you want to try to simulate a turkey flying down, what I'm going to do is use this little piece of wood or this little paddle handle here and insert some wings or feathers, wing feathers off of a turkey into it so that I can use it for simulating fly down when I'm doing, let's say, a fly down cackle early in the morning, just to again, just try to make it sound more realistic for the gobblers that I'm trying to call in. So to catch you up, what I've done so far here is this is a cutout that a friend had given me, and as you can see, it's shaped to where it fits your handle, almost kind of like a pistol grip, and or in this kind of fashion here for your finger up above. And then what I'm doing now is I went ahead and just laid out some marks originally that I was going to use just to try to see how many feathers I thought would be good. And then I've drilled these holes. I started with just a smaller pilot hole, and then I drilled up larger. I originally was going to use a larger wing feather, and then was realizing I was starting to get thin in the wood, so I went over to some smaller ones. And what I was doing now is just taking one of the smaller ones and fitting in, just to see how the general fit is on it. And one of the things to note on it is, depending on how you're going to do it, is the way you want to orient your feathers. So if I'm going to do it right-handed, I'm going to be holding it like this. I'd need to have the feathers pointed down so that when I come down through, I can do it this way. Now, with me being left-handed, I might be doing it with my left, so for mine, I want to make sure probably and rotate the feathers this way before I glue them into place, and that way I'm coming down like this. So again, just so that I'm not doing opposite. And it, you probably can still do it, you're just not going to have as loud or as much draft if you do it the other way. So anyways, I was just doing a test fit here with the feather. Some of the things that you'll need is, obviously you'll need to have this cut out. This was something that I think they had just marked off of another existing one and then cut it out and routed the edges to smooth it a little bit more. It's probably about 2.5 to 3 inches wide and maybe 5 to 6 inches tall. And then as I can see, you can see the cutout here to where it gives you that kind of pistol grip. So you'll need that you're going to put your feathers in, a drill with a drill bit, some pruners or scissors to go ahead and cut the feathers out. Here I have like an X-Acto knife, or kind of like an X-Acto knife, a craft knife, and my drill bits. Need a glue gun, and what I'm going to plan on doing is putting some glue down in the holes, maybe down the shaft of the feather, and then when I shove it in, I expect to get some glue out. So I'll have here just some cloth to go ahead and wipe the glue off, or I'll probably just maybe let it dry and then I can pick it off or cut it off as need be. But that's pretty much it, I think, that we need to go ahead and be able to get started. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and see about cutting some of these other feathers. Like I said, here's ones that I'd cut out, but as you can see, they're a lot thicker in size, a lot bigger, and so I'd have to have a lot bigger hole, and that would make the wood pretty thin. I could still do it, but I don't think that's really necessary. So what I've done is taken this wing here, and I've got the feathers that I've kind of cut out, or made room for me to cut them out over here. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and start cutting those. And then there's a little bit of flesh on them. I'm going to probably go ahead and peel that flesh off. As I was shoving them down in the hole, it was kind of peeling or skinning that flesh back. And so I'll start doing that, and then I'll catch up with you again here in a minute. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll show you here is I'm just taking the feathers now, and I've drilled the holes to where they're roughly the size of the feathers here, and it's tight enough that when I push the feathers in, it's peeling that flesh, that little bit of skin that was on the wings, back. So as you can see, it's kind of peeled it back. And then I'm just taking this X-Acto knife here, this crafting knife, and kind of just skinning it along that quill or that shaft to just go ahead and be able to skin that little bit of flesh off. And so the other thing too is you figure out your spacing of what you're going to have. I felt like 4 was reasonable for this size paddle, I'll call it a paddle. And then at the same time too, I have a feeling that when you get 4 of them overlapping and together on it, it's probably reasonable on sound. So we'll see here in a minute once I finish, I'll say fleshing or skinning these other couple. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to assume that I'm going to be doing this left-handed. And I'm just kind of going to look here and see if there's anything in particular with these feathers. So I can see they're all kind of laying that way. So I'll just see about putting one in. And it looks like I drilled the depth about right where she starts tightening up. And again, I'll put glue in just to hold these a little bit tight. I'll be honest, the fit is almost perfect to where they can probably hold without using glue. And here we go. Let's see. So yeah, I could probably go and get a fifth one in on this end, but I don't know that it's really needed. Let's see if that sounds, and I'll act like I'm hitting the table here just to maybe simulate some limbs. So yeah, she'll get busted up a little bit. That's all right. Pretty good, and like I said, if I wanted to, I could probably add one more right here on the very end and run that in, but I don't think I really need it. I think that gives me some pretty good noise. And so, actually, I don't think I'm going to glue these in at all now that I do it. I think I'm going to leave them the way they are with just a friction fit. They're not coming out. And then at the same time too, I think, instead of gluing them, that gives me where over time, as they get damaged or become in disarray that I need to fix them, I can pull them out a lot easier and replace them being to where they're not glued in. So yeah, I think that looked pretty good, and it's pretty simple there. I end up just working my way up with the drill bit size until I thought I got close, and then as I said, I took one of the feathers off and cut it and did a fit. And again, it's kind of like my boy was talking with me when he was down here earlier. You can always make the hole size bigger, you can't make it smaller. So I was just trying to step my way up. One, I wanted to make sure I didn't split the wood, and two, I wanted to make sure I didn't go too big. And that's another thing that was kind of nice, I think, as well, that what happens is by making those holes a little bit deeper. And again, this one here, I actually took the X-Acto knife and cut off some of the feathers up so that it wouldn't interfere, but as you can see, it's so much deeper. Now what I could have done is shorten it, and what I was going to say is that I think what happens also as well is as I push that in that hole to get a little tighter fit, some of those feathers get pushed in, and then that just tightens that up and gives a little bit more friction bite down in the hole to where it tightens it up. So I think that's one of the things that happened here. But again, I can still use this paddle right-handed, and I guess put my thumb here if I want. But for me, being left-handed, that works, I think, pretty darn good. So yeah, for me, I'm not going to do the glue. Maybe that's a little tip for you guys. I'd never done this before. If you make the hole sizes just right, you can do it with like a compression or a friction fit and not have to worry about doing any kind of glue and making any kind of mess. So, guys, I hope you found it useful. And if you did, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video, ring the bell, and set up the notifications so that you see new content that's coming out. I appreciate you guys supporting me and my channel, and I'll see you on the next video.